What's going on, everyone? So James Harden and Daryl Morey's marriage appears to be over. James Harden had some very not so kind things to say about Daryl Morey, calling him a liar. I actually made a full video about that over on As It Stands Sports. I'll even link that video down in the description below if you want to go check it out and kind of hear my thoughts on the whole James Harden, Daryl Morey drama. But this video isn't so much about that. It's about James Harden's time with the Sixers is very likely over, right? If they don't trade him by training camp, which very possible, Daryl Morey has said, the Sixers, we got the reports that, hey, they're keeping James Harden, they're gonna have him come to training camp. But we have seen James Harden quit on two separate teams. And again, whether James Harden is overreacting and just being drama, whether he's telling the truth and Daryl Morey really did lie, it's neither here nor there for this video, right? Again, go check out that other video down in the description if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But you have James Harden, who is still a very talented guy. He led the league in assists last season, but he completely disappears when it comes to big moments, the playoffs, even this last playoffs. He had some very solid games, right? Some big games without Joel Embiid, in which that they probably should have lost, but he was able to pull it out. But a large sample size, he was terrible. And for a long time, it's the Clippers. He wants to go to the Clippers. He wants to play for the Clippers, yada, yada. But they don't want to trade Terrence Mann. And Daryl Morey, he wants a package that he finds suitable for James Harden. And we have seen a lot of Laker fans and a lot of people throw out the idea of, well, should the Lakers go and trade for James Harden, right? The Lakers could put together a very nice package to go and acquire James Harden if they wanted to. They could put together a better package than what the Clippers are doing. But is that something that makes sense? And is that something that actually works? Like, you're not giving up Austin Reeves, right? So do the Sixers want D'Angelo Russell? Maybe. Okay, if you could trade D'Angelo Russell and say, I don't know, you'd have to give up more than D'Lo. Give up like 3 or 4 guys, right? You'd have to give up like D'Lo, at least maybe Gabe Vincent, which if you got LeBron, you got James Harden, you got Austin Reeves, you could figure that out. You could make that work. So I don't think losing both your point guards would be a huge deal. And then maybe like a Taurean Prince to give him kind of a wing 3-and-D wing defender, and then whatever else, right? Maybe you have to give up a Rui Hachimura, which that wouldn't be ideal, right? I wouldn't personally want to do that. Regardless, however you slice it, the Lakers would have to give up a pretty sizable package to go get James Harden. And look, James Harden, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, it could be absolute money. It could be butter. You'd still have Austin Reeves. As long as you could keep Austin Reeves, I think you'd be okay, right? Because you still have a lot of size, a lot of perimeter depth. You could go and get, you could keep Jared Vanderbilt, so that way at least you have Jared Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis as like your primary defensive guys. Austin Reeves, he's a serviceable defender because James Harden can't defend to save his life, and LeBron, especially in the regular season. So you might be better playmaking wise, you might be better just scoring wise, because James Harden is a guy that can go get you 21 and 12 a night, right? And maybe LeBron would be willing to kind of take a back seat and let James Harden kind of run the show at times. James Harden, his lackluster performances in the playoffs may be sort of mitigated because you'd have Austin Reeves, you'd have LeBron James, you'd have Anthony Davis. And then the games that he is on, you're probably never losing those games, right? Because if you have James Harden going off for 25, 30, LeBron James is capable of doing that, Anthony Davis capable of doing that. Plus James Harden is a really good shooter, so he could play off the ball if LeBron or Austin Reeves are kind of playing point at times. You can see the picture of this working and being very good, right? And the Lakers have the coach, they have the culture, they have, LeBron and AD, and so you could make it make sense, right? And depending on what the package is, if the Lakers traded for James Harden, I don't think anybody would really be that upset about it, right? Especially if it works. Like, let's say you trade for James Harden and you win the NBA championship. Nobody's going to be like, they never should have traded for James Harden, right? You want a chip, right? But there's just so many things that could just end up absolutely disastrous that I want the Lakers to stay as far away from James Harden as possible, right? And to be honest, this is kind of a Laker thing to do, right? Go get that other star, especially if LeBron and AD kind of push for it, right? Do they look at it, especially if they don't have to give up anything crazy, right? Like, again, say you give up, D'Lo, Rui, and Torian Prince or something like that. It's like, yeah, you lost Rui, that hurts, but you still have, Jared Vanderbilt, you still have Cam Reddish, you have Jackson Hayes, you have enough to be solid and competitive going into this season, right? James Harden, even though he has his flaws in the playoffs, probably delivers more than what D'Lo does. Again, you can make the argument. If this works, you're probably winning an NBA championship, right? With a starting five of Austin Reeves, or let's say James Harden, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. It's very good. And you'd still have, like Max Christie, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes. Again, you'd have to kind of work out the point guard position, but maybe you could work something out. Maybe you go sign a vet that was on a buyout or whatever. You figure it out. I still wouldn't do it. If he wants to go to the Clippers, let him go to the Clippers. Let the Clippers figure that out. Let the Clippers have to navigate and work that out. I still don't think James Harden to the Clippers. I think on paper, they seem scary. I think on paper, you're like, man, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Whew, like, good luck. In reality, I don't think that works at all, right? Even if Russ is willing to come off the bench, right, which I think would help a lot more, I still just, you don't have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George that could stay healthy. Russell Westbrook, he was much better with the Clippers, so maybe he still thrives. Okay, cool. James Harden still going to disappear. And then if you lose Paul George and Kawhi Leonard come playoff time, James Harden and a bunch of role guys aren't going to save the day, even with Russell Westbrook, right? So, especially in the Western Conference. So, I look at it, let James Harden go to the Clippers and be the Clippers pro. Let them deal with one bad day and now James Harden is quitting on that team. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard end up getting hurt and James Harden just packs it in. James Harden, being in LA, is going to be closer to Las Vegas with all the gambling, strip clubs, nightlife, all that stuff. And he was already taking trips from Philly to Vegas the night before playoff games, right? Like, and you're telling me, like, and people want that on this roster? People want that on this team? Look, again, Daryl Morey could be 100% a liar. He could be a guy that just did James Harden dirtier than dirty, right? But James Harden still has this track record of, at any moment, if he feels slighted in any type of way, he's not just going to suck it up, be professional, and get through the season or whatever. No, he's going to quit, literally quit, until he's able to force his way out. And then what? And then you as the Lakers are trying to look to trade him. Forget it. If he goes to the Clippers and the Clippers win the chip with James Harden, congratulations to them, right? They're still a little brother. Congratulations to them. And I know in hindsight, people will be like, oh, Lakers should have gotten him just to keep him away from the Clippers. It's not worth losing a solid contributor that you know is going to buy in, you know is going to play hard, you know is going to give you 100% in Rui Hachimura, a Gabe Vincent who has been there in the NBA Finals as a starting point guard, is now your backup, you know is going to give you 100%, you know is going to give you more. And the pieces that you would lose for James Harden, you would probably get more production out of Rui, D'Lo, and Gabe Vincent, right? Like, if this was 27-year-old James Harden, probably, right? Like, if this was Houston battling with Golden State for winning an NBA championship, James Harden, absolutely. Trade whatever you want. You probably trade it. You probably even trade Austin Reeves at that point if you had to, right? Like, you figure it out. You go get that. James Harden was a 30-point triple-double a night guy, right? You go get that guy. That's not the James Harden we have anymore, right? He's only getting older. He's not the guy he once was. He's became a drama queen. He's another guy that just he's another Dennis Rodman in the sense of like, you know, he's partying and living that nightlife more than actually playing NBA games. He shows up more at strip clubs than he does in actual playoff games. And you think you're going to be able to corral him at this point in his career? Still believes he's a star. He's going to want a max extension. It's just he's not worth it. He's just not worth it. Again, if Steve Ballmer wants to pay him $50 million a year to just wear a Clipper jersey and stick it to the Lakers, fine, so be it. Good luck. I don't buy it. I don't think it's going to work. And again, the upside of James Harden with this Lakers roster, right, is massive. It's huge. It's something that could absolutely potentially win you the NBA championship. But it's the low risk, high reward isn't there. Right? Like if you were able to sign James Harden or if you were able to just basically swap D'Lo with James Harden and maybe a first, sure, why not? Right? It's like because at that point it's like you're taking a gamble on the upside. And if it doesn't work out, you just let James Harden walk. And same thing might happen with D'Lo at the end of the season. So it doesn't hurt you, right? It's a low risk, high reward type play at that point. But now, if you have to give up a D'Lo, a Rui, a Prince, whatever else, or Gabe Vincent, right? Like let's say you have to give up Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and D'Lo. Right? Yeah, you still have Taurean Prince. Yeah, you still have Austin Reeves. Yeah, you still have Cam Reddish and Max Christie and Jackson Hayes. And you're still a very deep team. You're still very talented. It just, the risk is now mitigated by the price. And now that low risk, high reward is no more. Right? Like if you were able to just swap D'Lo with James Harden, sure, why not? Sign me up for that. But you're going to have to give up a lot for James Harden. And he has the potential to just completely implode your team, right? And some people, like closing point, some people might look at it, well, the Lakers are willing to sign Christian Wood, right? And he has, a lot of same problems, could blow up your locker room. The difference is you're getting Christian Wood on a vet minimum. And so the high risk or high reward, low risk is huge in that factor. And you can always cut him and it doesn't cost you anything. Cost you nothing. Cost you like $2 million. You're not cutting James Harden. You're not waiving James Harden and paying him $40 million. Like you're comparing Ferraris to lemons at that point, right? Like it's not the same thing. But anyway, as always, I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Again, I think the Lakers should stay as far away from James Harden as possible. That's my personal opinion, but I'd love to hear yours. Let me know down